gang. What's up? What's up?
How are y'all doing?
We hope you all are doing well. We wanted to do something a little different today. As you can see, this episode is pre-recorded, but it's also off of our schedule because normally we do episodes every 2 weeks, every other Tuesday. But because this is a special occasion, we want to do something a little different. We are coming on today because this is our 1 year anniversary episode. Yay!
Yay!
So rather than just doing a post, to kind of commemorate this occasion, we really wanted to have something that we wanted to present to you all. So this episode is not structured at all, no agenda, just going to be me and Lakesha just having a conversation, reflecting on our 1 year of insightful moments. So that's what this episode is going to be about. You excited about it, Lakesha?
I'm excited, cuz I'm excited. Let's kick it off.
As I was thinking about this episode, I was just like, wow, we really made it to a year of our podcast. And because it was July 6th of 2020 when we officially launched. And I remember we launched the episode live, and I was so nervous because I had done a podcast before, but never anything that was kind of like a personal, podcast. I had did it was professional for work. So it was a little different. But I was nervous because I didn't know like how things were gonna go. I didn't know what to expect or whatever. I didn't know the type of feedback we would get. I just know that when I initially brought the idea to you, I just wanted to create something that would just reach a lot of people, that was going to be meaningful and something that was going to be helpful to people. And I think it's safe to say that we've done that. What do you think?
I have to agree, cuz I have to agree. I know when you came to me initially about this entire concept of a podcast, to say the least, I was not feeling it.
You wasn't.
Um,
You were not at all. I remember that.
and the reason being, for people who know me and really know me, I am a very private individual. And I have seen, how just mean and evil and just disgusting people can be in these social media streets. And I did not want any parts of that. But thankfully, I am so grateful for my support system that I have around me. My parents, being one, my family, whether immediate or extended, various mentors, prayer warriors, and things of that nature that I had to reach out to in order to get a little bit more context, a little bit more um, buy in, to say the least, um, about uh, what you saw this becoming, and really letting go of fear, which is something I speak very candidly and very strongly when it comes to my students. But here I was in a situation actually letting fear get the best of me. And so I'm so grateful that I decided to let fear go in this particular instance and embrace what has now uh, has become known as Insightful Conversations with SNL. And so, first and foremost, um, I am grateful to God for this opportunity, and even with the two of us still being here in this space. To Shnequia, thank you for seeing something in me that at the time I necessarily couldn't see uh, within myself. And I look forward to what the future holds for the two of us in this space, in this environment, in this entity.
Yay. Okay, well, thank you for that. And I'm also thankful that you agreed to be a part of it. Because I know when I originally had this vision, God provided this vision. I will say that because I knew that during the middle of the pandemic, when it was starting last year, I knew that there was something that I wanted to create that was just gonna, like I said in the intro, just reach people. And I've watched like a lot of YouTube videos and things of that nature. And I will admit, I wasn't really like a podcast person before, like in terms of audio podcasts, like listening. But I knew that I would watch YouTube videos and I was just like, I can do what they do. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because I was just like, some of the stuff that I was watching, I'm like, y'all clearly just saying whatever. Like some of this stuff don't necessarily make sense or whatever. And I was just like, I can do that. At least I can, talk about stuff that I feel is important and that's meaningful to other people. And, I feel like you had mentioned about having, some fear. I had fear too, but I think mine was more so along the lines of, will it be accepted? You
Mm,
know, because there are so many podcasts
there
that's
are.
out there. And so
There
I was
are.
just trying to figure out like how our podcast was going to differ from others. Like how are we going to be able to stand out from other shows that were out there? And I know that originally I didn't want it to be about mental health because I was just like, that's too close to what I do in my professional career. And I wanted to do something that was just going to be fun, but yet uplifting and insightful and things like that. And so that's kind of how it was presented to me by God. And I was just like, wow, okay, God, I don't know how to do a podcast, but I'm going to try to figure it out. Did some reading, did some consultations with people that have done podcasts, watched a lot of YouTube videos, and just kind of figured it out from there. And then I was just like, well, I know I don't want to do this by myself. So I was like, I wanted a co host, but I was like, well, who do I ask? And I was just thinking, I was just like, Lakeisha would be perfect, my cousin, for this, only because I was like, she's already so poised, and I know that she has her strong opinions about things. And I no, no, but not in a negative. Oh my
No,
god.
no, no, no. I understand. Trust me, I
No,
totally
no, because I wanted to be with someone who could articulate appropriately. You know what I'm saying? And somebody that wasn't gonna come across as dull and boring. Someone that had some personality at least. And I felt like you had that. And I knew that you were a God fearing person. And I know that you would put quality into this. And so God revealed to me you. And so I know that you were hesitant at first, but I'm glad that you did agree to
Oh,
be a
thank
part
you,
of it.
Cuzzo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to be honest with you, I was nervous up until we went live with our first episode. I remember like all kinds of thoughts were racing. Um,
What kind of thoughts?
oh man, um, how do I look on camera? How are people going to perceive what it is that I'm saying? Are we going to be supported? What happens if somebody does make any derogatory comments? How do you handle that in this type of space, form and/or fashion? Um, what if I mess up? How do I recover? And things like that. Because, like I said, I've never gone live, whether it be Facebook or Instagram or any other social media platform. So, all of this was new for me. Like you, I am a big time watcher of all things YouTube. I subscribe to a whole lot of different channels on YouTube. So I'm very much familiar with the podcast arena and things like that. But like I said, had never ever dived into it, had no intention uh, to do so. And so, like I said, up into that first episode, I was a ball of energy, but also, like I said, some nervousness and things like that. And then once we got into the swing of things, um, it just seemed very calm, very soothing. The fear, the doubt began to wave. And I felt as the conversation progressed, I became more comfortable, and things like that. And so once the first episode was over and done with, it's just like, A, we did it. B, I overcame one of my fears. And moving forward, I can truly do this. It's not as bad as I had initially thought that it was going to be. And it hasn't. We've gotten a couple of people, not necessarily on our lives, who have reached out to us and said some wayward things. Um, we've had a guy in our DMs a while back who was propositioning Shnequia and I about some inappropriate things. But like I said, in that space, I am more comfortable because I call myself the queen of delete and block. And so that's what ended up happening.
But you
Uh,
know what I think it was, Lakeisha? I think it was somebody who just saw two beautiful women, queens, and just was like, let me try to see if I can shoot my shot. And we just wasn't trying to hit it
mm,
at all.
it's not how you come at queens, honey. That's
Right.
not how you
Like,
come at queens.
exactly. We just weren't trying to hit it at all. So bye bye to you, whoever you were.
We are above the BS. Okay.
Yes, we are. Very much so. Very much so. Speaking of our first episode, you remember our first episode we did, it was on mental health.
Yes,
And
it
it was
was.
because I remember it was about coping during times of uncertainty.
Mm,
And I remember when we talked about that particular episode when we were planning it, we wanted to do something that was kind of reflective of the times that we were
right.
in the world at that time, with the pandemic, coronavirus going on, and then with all the social injustice that was going on
Right.
too. We just wanted to do something that kind of reflected that. So, yeah. And I remember like that episode had a lot of people on the live.
It
For that to
did.
be, it had a lot of people on the live, and I remember a lot of people were asking, questions in particular because we were really talking about a lot of different valuable things on there, like about what depression is and anxiety, and how to cope with those particular different mental illnesses and things like that. And I remember we even left resources
Oh yeah.
for people,
Oh
and
yes.
I remember we got a lot of good feedback for the episode.
Yes.
So I feel like
Yes.
that was a great episode to kind of start us off.
It was. It was. It was. And just like you said, we had a lot of support from our family, from
And
our
friends.
friends, from our extended network. A lot of people either asked questions or made statements and or comments during the live. We had a lot of people reach out to us afterwards
Mm-hmm.
with regards to those tools and resources. I even had some of my college students who were experiencing some things, not only because of the pandemic, but just some things that were going on in their personal and professional lives, who needed some resources and tools in order to cope with their own mental health. And so I was happy that it was as successful as it was. And it was so, I won't say funny. Our God is a God of intent, and He's very purposeful in what He does. And every episode that we did after that for season one, in some shape, form, or fashion, it connected back to episode number one. There was
Yeah.
always some component dealing with one's mental health in each and every episode that preceded our first. And so that was kind of like sometimes you don't necessarily realize why you do things in the matter in which you do. And then things start unfolding. It's just like, I got you, guy. I see you. May not have
Mm-hmm.
seen it before, but I got it. I got it. And I'm on board with it.
Yeah. True. Very true. So after like kind of thinking about just all the episodes we've done, um, from season one and from season two, do you have like any favorites that kind of stand out to you?
Oh man, I have a couple. So from season one, I would have to say my two favorite was the panel discussion that we did with Dr. Vince, Damon, and Antonio. We also garnered a lot of feedback about that episode. Our audience was thrilled to see, and it was excited, that we invited men, especially Black men, into such an intimate space and let them have their say on issues that not only affect everyone, but really, really hit home for them. And we got to see, they shed some light into the different contexts in which they deal with different things. I remember Dr. Vince, he shared the example in that particular episode about, I think, him and his father being stopped
Mm-hmm.
by a police officer, and how that affected him not only as a child, but even now as a grown man. Antonio making the reference to, every time, before he leaves the house, he makes it, he's very intentional about kissing both his daughter and his wife goodbye because, he doesn't know if he'll, return to his home and things like that. And so to me, it was very shocking. It was very jarring. It was very personal. Uh, but man, it was just mind blowing to me. So I am so glad that we did that particular episode with those men, and look forward to doing many more and inviting, other men into our space as well when it comes to giving their voice when it comes to various issues of concern. Another one of my favorite episodes is when we did the relationship episode. So when we had Talinda, Mr. Matir was on there, Justin was on there as well. I felt like we had a lot of fun. I
And my
felt
friend Gwen, she was on there
Gwen
too.
was on there as well. I felt like we had a lot of fun. I felt like the conversation flowed. Um, I valued the difference of opinions. There were some things that, all of us agreed upon, and then there were some things that, we had different opinions and points of views on, and that was a-okay as well. Once again, we got a lot of great feedback from that episode. People were reaching out to me afterward about Talinda and about Mr. Matir and things of that nature. I got a lot of feedback from my family about that episode and things like that. So if I had to pick two, like I said, those two, the panel discussion we had um, with our Black men, and as well as the relationship podcast. What
Okay,
about
so
you? Because
are you talking about like just season 1 and season 2 collectively? Those are your favorite two, or just for season 1?
that's for season one.
Okay. Oh, so I was gonna name them all together, but if we can do, if you want to start with season 1, we can do that. Like you, I also enjoyed the Black Men episode. And I remember when we talked about doing that episode, because we actually did 2 episodes season 1 about Black women,
Mm-hmm.
and so we thought it was only right to have a discussion where Black men were going to be a part of it.
Right.
And so that's kind of how that episode came about. And I really enjoyed that one too. And I also got a lot of feedback about that episode. It was just like, oh my God, who are those guys? They were just so so knowledgeable, and they were so open and
Yeah.
honest about their experiences. And a lot of the people that I got feedback on, they really appreciated that. So that's definitely one of mine. And also that was the first time we kind of played around with a promo. Remember?
Yeah,
They
that
want
is
to create
true.
a promo for us.
Damon made the promo for
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that one was a good one. And then if I could pick another one, I also liked our second episode. That was the one about self-esteem. Remember we talked about
Mhm.
owning your self-esteem? I liked it, that one, primarily, obviously, because of the topic, because I think that's such a good topic to talk about. But also, that particular episode kind of launched us being able to have the opportunity to do our first speaking engagement. Remember?
Right.
Through Xavier University. So I
Oh
think that
yeah.
episode means a lot. And to this date, it's still like our highest viewed episode. Like in terms like now on YouTube, I keep track, and that's still the highest viewed one.
Okay.
And so some people must have really loved it. So but yeah, so I really liked it, that one. And then I liked it, the episode that we did about grief too. obviously because it was a personal episode for me.
Right.
But I think that episode really gave people information about grief and how grief can impact us, and also about different types of grief.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times people only think about death.
Oh yeah.
With grief. But in that episode, we highlighted that there are different types of ways that you can grieve. You can grieve a relationship, the end of a relationship, end of a friendship, end of a job.
Yeah.
Death, things like that. So I really like that. So I think those are probably my top 3 from season 1.
Okay. Okay.
I had to do another one. So you only did 2. I did 3. So, yeah.
What about season 2? Although we have yet to wrap up season 2, are there any episodes that stand out in your mind?
Yes. Okay. I can't even pick my top, because I think that we've done a lot of good episodes this season. The episode that we released last week about appearance, I really enjoyed that one with my friend Latisha. That one was a really good one. Because you remember, we were just I was originally thinking about just having it just mentioned as a buzzworthy topic. But I'm glad that we did do that as an episode, because it was really good. And I felt like we all stuck to our guns.
We did. We did. And with everything that's going on, with the world now starting to open back up, people going back to some sense of normalcy. We know in some parts of the world, people are still recovering, people are still going through. But as we stated before, appearance is everything. Sometimes all you get is one shot. And so you want to make sure that you take advantage of every opportunity, every moment, every second, because you just never, ever know the next person or group of individuals who you may end up running to may end up holding the keys to open the door that you have been praying and fasting and interceding about. And so I really, really enjoyed that conversation. Leticia too was very poised. She was very articulate. She provided great perspectives and things like that. And hopefully we can continue. We can keep this thing going, because like I said, there's so many different avenues and just sub areas and regions that we could have pulled from with regards to that particular topic. So much so, as we were speaking, all different, my creative juices started flowing. Because I'm a coordinator and I put on programming for my students and things like that. So I'm now working on a workshop even with them around appearance and just the importance of showing and or presenting your best, your best self when you step out and things like that. So I agree, because I too really, really enjoyed that particular episode. Is there any other?
Oh yeah.
To you?
Oh yeah, plenty. That one, and then I really liked our friendship episode, the truth behind sisterhood. I really liked that one, because remember, I was a big advocate of the friendship episode from last season. I was like, we got to do an episode about friendships, because I was like, friendships are important, and I feel like there needed to be something or some type of dialogue about friendships, especially for people that may not know what true friendship looks like. And I thought that episode did a really good job of highlighting, things to look for in healthy friendships and what not to look for. And also, as well as how to end friendships. If you feel like the season is up. Because I think a lot of times people don't necessarily talk about that.
They don't.
And so I liked that. And I liked the fact that the angle that we took for that particular episode, where we invited, our really, really good friends.
Yeah.
Linda made her appearance again on that. And then my friend LaShondra was on. And I just really liked how I think we embodied sisterhood.
Yeah.
Episode. So yeah, that one really stuck out to me. And then I really liked our cancel culture episode.
Yes.
And for many reasons. One, cancel culture is such a hot topic. I
Yeah.
mean, everyone has an opinion about it whatsoever. And I don't think it's a topic that's going to go away
Most
anytime soon
no. No.
because it's ever evolving. It's evolving constantly. And I also like the fact that that's another episode where I really felt like we stuck to our guns
Yeah.
because a lot of the things that we talked about in that episode, like about us still being supportive of R. Kelly's music
Mhm.
and things like that, which a lot of times that's kind of against the majority of what people think
Right.
in terms. But I felt like we stuck to our guns on that, and I also feel like that was an episode where we really highlighted on like why cancel culture exists. We felt like we didn't agree with the concept of cancel culture and things like that. And I think that episode really, in my opinion, I think it really kind of allowed us to really kind of go a little deeper. Because to
Mhm.
me, I think that might have been like our most controversial episode, just to me, only because of the nature of the topic. So, and that was also the first episode that we did pre-recorded,
Yeah,
and and it turned out well.
it
So,
did.
yeah, so I liked that one. And then, what else did I like? I also liked the episode about faith.
Yes.
Your friend, Philip.
With
That was
Philip,
a good
my
one.
big bro.
That
Yes.
was a good one. Yeah, I really like that one because I mean, faith, the topic is just something that so important, so huge to talk about, and I
Yes.
really liked how Philip, not only brought in his perspective on the topic of faith, but he also gave like a lot of good nuggets in that episode. He even sung,
Yeah.
and I thought that was awesome, and it was just awesome. The episode was just great. So I think
Oh,
those would probably be mine so far.
okay. Okay.
I know I named a lot. I told you I had a lot.
Well, I'll probably just stick to two or three again, like I did for season one. The faith episode with Philip definitely was one of my favorites. And I know when I came to you about someone joining the conversation, Philip was the absolute number one person that came to mind. Just because, and those who know Philip know that he is very passionate about God, about faith, about people finding their purpose and things of that nature. Um, at the time, I was actually getting life coaching sessions from him and just received a whole lot of just insightful information even about what I had going on in my own life, and how to move forward, and some things. And I love the fact that his advice was very practical. It was very much real. As you stated before, he was able to provide not only real world examples, but point things back to the Bible.
Mhm.
And so I really, really enjoyed that conversation with him. I also, once again, enjoyed bringing the men back. Again, and this time, although we didn't have everybody, Antonio was missing from that particular segment only because the day that we recorded, it was actually his birthday. Not because anything was amiss or awry or nothing like that. But I really, really enjoyed that particular conversation as well, and hearing their responses to some of the various topics that we had already discussed. So, once again, getting that male perspective on things such as cancel culture, as you stated, which is so big. We talked about some things revolving around relationships and things like that, and even some mental health components and nuggets. Um,
Oh yeah, that also sparked the Kevin Samuels
oh
debate.
yeah,
High
the
value
high
man.
value man.
Oh, and the men really had some opinions on that. That was funny.
The subject matter they tried to stray away from when I brought it up. I remember
Right.
Justice said, "Oh, I hope that thought that you had forgotten about that." But like I said, very, very insightful. Once again, fun type of episode to be a part of.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that one was a fun one too. Yeah. And I also like the fact not only did we bring back, Damon, Dr. Vince, and Justin, but we also added Roscoe to the
Yeah,
panel.
to the
And
mix.
yeah, and I thought that he did a very good job of bringing in his perspective, and I thought he meshed well
Oh
with
yeah.
the guys. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
so that was a really good one too. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's something for our audience that we want you all to know. We don't just randomly just select individuals to come on our podcast. Know that me and Shanique are very particular. We're very thoughtful. We're very intentional with regards who we think would be a great fit. There are names that come out and people sometimes that we want to invite. For example, we would love to do an episode one day, hopefully with our mothers. Uh, if
Good
they're
luck
listening,
with that. I know my mama ain't gonna do it because she ain't gonna
already
get on
my mom,
camera.
my
She'll
mom,
get in the chat. She'll get in the chat, but I doubt she'll get on camera. But mama, maybe we
maybe,
get your camera.
maybe we can
You
get
get
our
on your
convo here
phone.
one day. Uh, but like I said, we really, really vet, who it is that we're going to bring um, on here to discuss whatever it is that we're going to talk about, because we also, and I'm glad that you brought up the example with Roscoe, we want it to be a good fit. We're not the type of people, we don't want a whole lot of controversy, and you can feel the tension in the air and that type of thing. So that's another good thing that I like about our partnership and us working, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and us working together.
Yeah. I agree with that because I know, like, whenever we have like the topics that we'll talk about in our planning meetings that we
Mhm.
put together, I know when I'm thinking about a guest, I always think about the person's personality, and I think about like who would be the best person to speak on this particular topic.
Exactly.
And I think it kind of works because of the fact that I think for one, it just depends. You got to really know the people that you're asking to be on.
Mhm.
But I also just think that it has to be people that mesh well with us
That's
as well, and kind of understand the vision that we have for not only the podcast as a whole, but just for the particular episode, that particular topic that we're wanting to talk about. So yeah, I always appreciate the guests that we have because I do realize that, you know, even though we bring up very good perspectives, sometimes you want to hear
oh
differences,
yeah,
different opinions and things like that, other than just the two of us, even though, it is
exactly.
our podcast, but you want to hear different people speak on the topic. So yeah, I always appreciate our guests. So shout out to all the guests
Oh
that
yeah,
we have had on since the podcast started.
we appreciate it. We appreciate it because you all take out time from your schedule. We know that you all have families. Some of our guests are married, they have kids. You may be retired, um, got jobs. You got other professional and just personal ventures that you have going on. And so to take out time to join us in order to make our dream a reality, and also to, in a sense, elevate what you have going on as well. Trust and believe it has not gone unnoticed whatsoever.
Mhm. I wanted to ask you, just shifting gears a little bit, what do you think you've kind of learned about yourself from doing this podcast?
As I stated before, um, when we first started, I was very much against uh, being in such a very open space, such as Facebook, Instagram, and or YouTube. If I've learned nothing else, it's to, like I said, let go of fear, and let go of doubt. You will never ever know and or learn about whatever avenues that you are trying to search out. Um, I would say anything that you're trying to get over. Um, if you don't let go of fear, you don't ever know what kind of doors uh, could become open. And if anything, I am in a state of daily or constantly learning that this really has nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
It has everything to do with God and the platform and the voice and the resources and tools that He has given me in order to educate, to teach, to instill knowledge, but also to learn from other people as well. And so that has been my biggest lesson with this podcast, letting go of fear and just diving in. Um, Whatever happens, happens. Have we made mistakes? Most definitely. You all have seen it, especially going live. We've had some technology issues before. I know in our faith and purpose episode, my entire internet just went out for whatever reason, and things like that. And those are things that if you allow it to get the best of you, um, it can really just turn everything that you got going on in that particular moment, that particular second, upside down. And so learning how to even get back in when obstacles do abound and things like that. So, like I said, letting go of fear, jumping in, knowing that mistakes are going to be made, but learning from those mistakes and moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
What about yourself, cuz?
Well, I was just gonna say, just kind of interjecting for a minute when you brought up about the technology issues and things like that. A lot of times that happens on live broadcasts anyway, because sometimes when I'm even watching like talk shows that are live or CNN when they do live broadcasts, they stuff kind of freeze up too. So I'm just like, that's just part of the territory. So I don't let that bother me too much. But lessons that I've learned. I would say I do agree with a lot of things that you said, but then probably that I could actually do a podcast. Because like I feel like I've always been the type of person who like to kind of express my opinions on different topics. Um I just never did it on like a such a huge platform
Mm.
like this because I used to kind of worry a lot about what people would say and how I may come across to them and things like that. But then one of the things that I learned was that this podcast for me is very cathartic. Like this is something that I look forward to doing. Like when it's time for us to record every other Tuesday, I enjoy it because I think it gives me an opportunity to just release, and just to really be able to unwind and just really be able to do me. Because, along the lines, a lot of times I've kind of wondered, like, okay, well, what is my purpose, so to speak? How can I be different than other people? And I feel like this podcast allowed me to kind of get my creative juices going because I never thought I was creative prior to doing this. And I think a lot of people don't tend to understand is that podcast is really, it takes up a lot of creativity. Like you have to be creative to put together such a product like this. And that's something that I feel like it was always there. I just didn't know it until I had this platform to help create. So I would say just definitely knowing that I could do this and getting out of my comfort zone
Yeah.
and just not caring how other people may think about what we're saying or what technology issues may occur if there's any. Just doing it, living in the moment, so to speak, and just being okay with that, being okay that people may not agree,
Oh yeah.
being okay that my hair may not look right in this particular like scene or whatever episode, but that's okay because it's still me. And I own that and
Exactly.
I own my voice because for so long I felt like I kind of shunned my own voice, because I thought I didn't have one. And I feel like I found my voice. So I'm very thankful that this podcast allowed me to be able to do that.
And I would add, cuz I have been shocked by the amount of support that we have garnered around our podcast. I don't know about you, but I've had family to reach out to me, especially my auntie Tusi. If she's tuning in, one thing that I can say about her is that she is supportive of all her nieces and her nephews and whatever ventures um, that we aspire to accomplish and or succeed in. And so there were times when she couldn't get onto the live for whatever reason. You know, she's texting and emailing, oh, I'm trying to get on, and this is not working. And so I'm trying to help her troubleshoot and things like that. And, just tell her, Auntie, it's okay. You can always watch the playback. And she's like, no, I want to be there. I want to be coming in real time and things like that. And not only her, like I said, I've had a lot of my family, um, coworkers, at my job. They have brought up various content that we have talked about, and or comments or statement either made by you and I, Shnequia, or that were brought to the forefront by somebody in our audience. So sometimes too, you may not feel, life has a tendency to get us down, especially last year with everything that was going on
Mm-hmm.
around the world. And sometimes you may feel like you are really in, this thing called life all by yourself. And you see that there are people who are rooting for you, who want to see you go far, who want to see you to take this thing to the next level. So that's another thing that I also gleaned as well since we've started this podcast, is never ever doubt that you have people who are backing you,
Mm-hmm.
all the way. If you only have faith, if only you see the vision and you believe in what it is that you're talking about and what you are advocating for, they will get behind it in some shape, form, or fashion.
Mm-hmm. And then the fact that we also, not only do we have like true support, but the fact that we've had people that like watch episodes like all of the time.
Yeah,
And even if they don't watch the episodes live, they still go back and watch the
exactly.
replay of it. And that means a lot too. Because I know, I'm just gonna share something. And I think I've had conversations with you about this, Lakeisha, in the past. I was just like, dang, is anybody really watching us? You know what I'm saying? Because, I think a lot of times with podcasts, we tend to focus a lot on the
The
numbers, so
numbers.
to speak, or the amount of views that you're getting. And if you allow that to be your focus, you will get discouraged, especially with a newer podcast like us. And I used to get discouraged because I would feel like, wow, we're really putting out such a great product. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we get more people to see us, to hear us?
Mhm.
But then, conversations with you and just prayers that I've had with God and conversations I've had with other friends, I was just like, you know what? That's not even what this is about.
Right.
It's not even about that. It's just about the love of it. And I
Mhm.
really genuinely developed a love for this. So I just got out of my head about the fact of, let's not even worry about the numbers, because I don't even worry about that anymore, because I feel like even if you have just like the same people that are watching every episode, that's still success. And I
Yeah,
think it just goes back to how you define what success is.
it does.
So with that being said, I think our podcast is very successful.
Yes, and too, I'm so glad that you brought up that point. It brought me back to the conversation one time that we had with Damon, and we were talking about this very same thing. And Damon gave us some very good, advice with regards to your audience is your audience. If you want to venture into other avenues, that's a-okay, but at the same time, you don't also want to lose the support of those that's been with you, since day one. For some, podcasters, they're going to get big, they're going to go global, and they go on tours and write books and all this kind of stuff. And that's all great. If we get there, kudos to us, kudos to the man up above. And if we don't, we too are going to be a-okay. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's about impacting or touching individuals, and we can do that in so many shape, form, and or fashion. It has nothing to do with the number. So cuz I'm so glad that you threw that out Um, it is definitely quality over quantity.
Quantity. That is so true. That is so true. And I said, I think that that's probably like the biggest lesson that I learned over this whole experience, because I know I was that person.
Yeah.
I will admit that I will take ownership in that. I was just like, like we got to do better than this, Lakeisha. Like we got to have more viewers than this. Like what we got to do to get these people to watch. But it's just like no. Then I thought about it. I was like, like we are staying true to ourselves with the product that we're putting
Exactly.
out, and I think that that's what matters. And like I said before, I think we talked about this when we first started planning the podcast. We were just like, if one person is at least touched by our content, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, cuz. That's
So
all that matters. Two, we have to think about what it is that we are discussing.
mm-hmm.
So, although what we are talking about, it is great in our heads, and we know that it's great content
Yeah.
because everybody and their mama talking about the exact same thing. Or, like I said, it may be very similar to what we are discussing. Um, Two, I hate to say it, ratchetness sells. People will tune in when it comes to ratchetness. They'll tune in when there's drama. They'll tune in for a fight and things like that. And it's sad that there are some parts of our society who operate in that manner. But once again, that's not us. That's not how we are raised, how we were raised. That's not us now today, as women. And so, as I stated before, we've got to remain true to
Mhm.
who we are. Whether or not you like us, our podcast may not be your cup of tea. And once again, that is okay. Don't be coming for us now. Don't be coming bashing us.
Okay, because we will come back. I know I will. Okay, let's just put that out there, because me and Keisha, we've had conversations about this.
We
This is our
have, we
this
have.
is our platform. This is our opinions. These are our perspectives. This is us. We've realized that people do not agree and stuff like that, but at the same time, respect the household
Yeah,
of what this is. And this is Insightful Conversations with SNL. Okay,
yeah.
that's it. Continue.
Yeah, like I said, if you don't necessarily like the content we're putting out or
Yeah,
even our perspectives on different things, then you don't
right,
necessarily have to tune in.
right.
But there's no reason to be malice,
Yes.
or be mean. Like I said, in the comments or just out on social media streets, we would never do that to another podcaster and or individual. And so we ask that you not do that to us. You treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm. Hello. Hello. So true. That is true. Because I'm glad that we threw that out there. Because how people do be trying you and stuff. I'm like, like, no, it's just all about, like we said before, just really sticking to the trueness of what it is that you're trying to put out and what the vision was.
Yeah,
And like, you might want to add some things here and there, but never losing sight of why you're doing this. And
exactly.
what's the purpose of it, I think is the most important
Exactly.
thing. Most important thing. Okay. So we've talked about what we've learned about ourselves, and we talked about our favorite episodes. Um, Anything maybe about the future of our podcast? Anything like that? What we want to see
I
moving forward?
um I definitely have enjoyed the strides and gains that we have made, um from the media side of things. As you all see, definitely season two, we've upped our game as far as our branding is concerned. And that's something too that we got a lot of great feedback with as well. As I told you all early up in the season, if you all need any art done, especially if you're looking for the more cartoony art and things of that nature, definitely hit up Fiverr. Fiverr is an app where there are tons and tons of contractors around the United States, even across the world. And these people are mad talented. Um, in whatever arena that you may be searching for, whether it's, a song selection, for us, you may, logo, things like that. Like I said, just go on Fiverr. You can type in what it is that you're looking for. I thought for the most part that the prices that a lot of these contractors are charging, that they're really, really reasonable. And the turnaround wait, especially for the contractor that we utilize for our particular artwork, she did an amazing job with our revisions and just getting those revisions back to us and edited in such a way. Damon, I can't thank him enough for being on board with us, even from last season, and even from asking him some things to do for us at the last meeting, and just how, like I said, mad creative he is as well. And I want to put out there that we do pay. So I don't want y'all to think we be out here taking advantage of people. None of this stuff is free. Me and Shanique will use our own coins in order to finance these endeavors and things like that. So um, yeah, so I would definitely, if I see anything futurized from us, I really enjoyed our speaking engagement with the students at Xavier University. So I would really love to dive more into that arena. Whether we do virtual talks or now, like I said, as things are slowly but surely starting to open back up, actually getting out and touring and going to different places and being able to speak with various audiences. Um, I would love to be invited on some other podcasts as guests as well. I know we've been shouted out over Instagram. I can't think of the podcaster who shouted us out for International Women's Month.
I know it. I can't think of her name either.
Yeah,
But we shouted her right back
we
out because I know
did. We
we
did.
shared what she put in her Insta story. I want
Yeah,
to say it's Lady of the Talk, but I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, she's a very because I've watched some of her content too, and she does a really good job as well. Because she's also about women empowerment, just
most
like we are.
definitely.
So yeah.
So, like I said, I would love to see us get invited to do some more speaking engagements. Creatively, I'm the type of person that um, you never stop learning, you never stop growing. So I would love to even see creatively, even when it comes to our branding and things of that nature, where we can take it to. So if you all have any ideas, feel free to reach out to us, and we will be more than happy to take a look into that information and just continue to grow and learn and expand what we have going to
Oh,
other avenues and other spaces as well.
not trying to cut you off because it's Ladyhood the show that shouted us out at Ladyhood
Okay.
the show. Yeah, yeah. I knew it was something with lady in it, but yeah, that's who shouted us out
Yeah.
on Instagram. So
I
shout out to
appreciated that she did that.
her. So yeah, so we feel like people are watching. They're watching, so that's why we always try to make sure that we're putting out the best quality product that we can. In terms of me, the question that I asked you, I feel like basically the same things that you were saying too. I definitely would like to do more speaking engagements because I really feel like that's a great way to really connect with people even more on a more intimate level. And I would definitely love to do more of that, whether it's college students or just women or just anybody, you know. So invite us. Invite us if you like what we are talking about in our episodes. Make sure to hit us up, and we would love to be a part of
Yeah.
it that you have going on. So feel free to reach out to us. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Gmail, all of it. Like, you can add Insight Combo WSL on Instagram and Facebook, and then of course our YouTube channel, Insightful Conversations with SNL, and then our email, insightfulconversations37@gmail.com. So all those ways y'all can reach out to us if you want us to be a part of anything that you got going on. And I think also just having more guests. More guests. I always appreciate when guests come on and give like just so many different perspectives on things. And
Oh, yes.
so I would like to see more of that in the future.
I
And just
agree.
and just taking it as far as we can go.
Yeah.
and just continuing to learn along the way, but also enjoying it along
Yeah.
the way too. I think that's me. All right. Is there anything else? I know we covered a lot in this episode.
Nothing else that comes to my mind, cuz. Anything on your end?
Um, Nothing I can really think of because we kind of talked about what we learned. Oh, this could be good. Um, what do you think we've learned about not Sarah individual what we learned about each other, but maybe what we learned about each other? Like anything you learned about me, anything like that during this process? What makes us
um,
work well together? You think?
I think if I learned anything about my cousin that I didn't necessarily know before, um, we are very similar in a lot of ways. And even in those similarities, there are still some differences as well. I appreciate the fact, and this is advice to anybody, especially for those of you all that may be considering um, working with another individual or a group of individuals. There are times where y'all are not going to see eye to eye. And Shaniqua, you can tell you we've had those moments. One thing that I do appreciate is when we don't see eye to eye. We never hit below the belt. So it never gets to a point where it gets like, wow, like you really took that there. Um, I feel like me and her handle conflict very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
We're always, what's the word I want to use? Uh, Me and her both are processors. So before we sit up here and say anything to each other, especially in a moment where we may not necessarily agree, we always process what it is that we're going to say. At the same time, like I said, remaining true to ourselves. Don't get that part wrong. But like I said, making sure that it doesn't get lost in the emotional tango jangle, and you're just going off on a tangent just because. So that's one thing that I've learned about uh, working with my cousin, and I look forward to. Um, Two, I think we've definitely learned each other's strengths and weaknesses throughout this process. Shaniqua knows that I'm more of the writer. So I'm the one basically, when we put out post, I'm probably the one that's doing most of the writing or the editing and things like that. And then when it comes to the media side of things, Shaniqua is more stronger in that particular area. She stays on social media more so than me. So for those of you all that follow me on Facebook, you probably don't see a lot of content until we put out a podcast, or if I got something going on with my family or somebody in the community, or just something sparks my interest, like, oh, I just came up upon this quote and I want to share it with people. Unlike my cousin, like I said, you're going to see Shaniqua. She's probably posting every day or at least every other.
Wait, hold on. Not every day, though.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Y'all post every day. Nah, no,
I
I
said
will say
either
I post
every
more
day
than
or every other day.
I do post more than you. I do post more
Yes,
than you,
most
but
definitely.
it don't be like every day
Most definitely. Most definitely. So, like I said, when it comes to social media, you're more stronger in that particular area than I am. So that's another piece of advice I would give to anybody that wanted to work together with somebody else. You all need to learn where you are strong at, and put that person over that particular area, and vice versa. There's no need for you all to be butting heads. A lot of time it could be just about little things.
though. Mm-hmm.
And you all just haven't had the opportunity to sit down and just to effectively not only communicate but really listen. And
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing that I have learned through this process with working with Shaniqua, is active listening um, to what she has to say, the good, bad, and the ugly, and not taking everything to the defense. Because I think a lot of times, especially as women, we have a big problem with that in whatever arena that is. A lot of times when people come to you, just automatically, you're ready to pop off and snap off. And it may not even, have anything to do with that. So also watching how I respond to her as well. What about yourself, cuz?
I agree with everything that you said, and I really love the fact that you brought up about being able to identify each other's strengths and what our limitations are. Cause yeah, you are definitely a writer. I am too. But I think you have me beat in terms of like just really good detail. Like you're a very detailed writer. And I feel like, and I know I've had conversations with like, Keisha, you really detailed and stuff like that. I was just like, we ain't gotta have a book for the people, Keisha. I was just like, just a brief little caption about what we gonna talk about. But nonetheless, I feel like it's still good because it does get our point across, and it allows people to really see like our differences and things like
Yeah.
that. And then also, I did learn that we're both very, very structured.
Oh yeah.
I knew that I was structured, but I didn't know that you was structured too, Lakeisha. So that has made very interesting conversations or planning meetings about topics and like how we're gonna have the layout of the episode to go and things like that.
Mhm.
So I've definitely learned that, and I've learned that you are very, very knowledgeable in a lot of areas, which makes me so glad that I did pick you to be my co-host because I'm just like, wow, she really knows a lot. And I love how you give a lot of data. Like you're very big on that, looking up like statistics on certain things that we talked about in episodes, which I'm not really into that. I just like to talk about what I feel and stuff like that, But I like the fact that you have something to back it up, which I think
Right.
is good a lot of times to really show that that you're factual and that you know what you're talking about. So I do appreciate that. So, but yeah, so that's what I've learned.
Good. Good. Good.
But,
Good.
but I think that we do work well together, and I think it's primarily because not only because we're friends and cousins, but just the fact that I think we can kind of feed off of each other
Yeah.
because we kind of have similar viewpoints on things.
Mhm.
I know you're more into like the not one. I don't want to necessarily say politics, but I'm more of like the kind of pop culture type
Yeah.
stuff. Which,
You are.
as you can see in our buzzworthy topic segments, the
That
different.
was that was Shaniquia's idea. Bring that into the podcast. I would not have never ever thought about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so just something to talk about current events and things like that, to kind of spice it up and make it not so serious. Our
Yeah.
content a lot of times, but even with that, I do appreciate those differences because you don't want to be the exact same way. Like
Exactly.
you want to have some differences, and things like that, which I think is very important. So.
And then too, you learn that although you have great ideas, your partner or partners actually could have better. And so
Mhm.
sometimes there's nothing wrong with you taking the back seat or hey, this is good content, but maybe we need to air it at X, Y, and Z and not necessarily this point as well. And so I think that's another reason why me and you work well, especially when it comes to how we've structured um especially I think season one and even growing into season two as well. Like I said, there are some times where you've taken the lead on something. I think you mentioned earlier, even about the whole topic when we had a discussion about, Monique. And you said before, you just thought that, just bring it up in a buzzworthy segment.
Uh-huh.
But when we were planning, I'm just like, man, Shaniqua, I think that this is enough to actually do a full episode around it. And we ran with it
Mhm.
and things like that. So, like I said, being able to listen to one another, being able to dialogue and to work through whatever conflict does come up at the end of the day, you all are not going to be able, you're not going to go wrong with it. And so, cousin, once again, thank you for thinking of me and for allowing me into this space. And I just look forward to where this journey is going to take us next.
Me too. And I just be sitting here thinking sometimes, I'm just like, wow, we really are podcasters. I was like, social media influencers, because we are.
Hmm.
We are. I know you're not really big on social media, Keisha, but no, but technically we are. Like seriously, we are social media influencers. And
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I kind of like having that title. And that's why I think that's why you can really tell that we're serious about what we put out in our
Hmm.
episodes, because we don't take that title lightly.
Right.
And you know, we want to make sure that this is quality what we're putting out, and that it's something that, like we said over and over again in this episode, that is true to us.
Oh yeah.
Because
Oh
y'all
yeah.
would know if it wasn't true to us. You'd be like,
Oh
that is
yes.
not them. Like, what are they trying? We went to school with them. Or like we friends with them. Like, we know that ain't them. They trying to do something that they not.
Yeah.
But but I think y'all know. And you know how you can tell by our personalities, like how we are and things like that. So I feel like I just love having the title of social media influencer. I love it. Yeah, I mean, have you ever thought of it like that? Like, we
I
really
have not until you just brought it up, to be honest with you. Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
We are. So, but yeah, I just want to see how far this can go, and I'm just willing to, be here for the ride and just enjoy it. So, can't believe 1 year. That's crazy.
1 year. One
That's
year.
crazy. Well, do we toast? You have anything to toast?
Let's toast, cuz let's toast.
Okay. So what we toasted on?
Um, remaining true to ourselves,
Yes.
longevity,
Hmm.
the power to influence not only individuals who we currently come into contact with, but also that influence spanning generations.
Yes.
And to love, to growth, to, oh man, to the next big thing that's going to happen for us.
And I want to add, continuing to keep God first, because
Oh, yeah,
without God, this wouldn't have been possible.
most
So
definitely.
I want to add that in there. So with
Most
that,
definitely.
clink clink, virtual clink clink, cheers, salute, take a drink. Mm, yes. So I think we can go ahead and close because we've talked a lot. Unless you had anything else.
I don't have anything else to share, cuz.
Okay, I didn't either. But we want to thank all our loyal viewers and listeners for just
Yes.
supporting us throughout this entire year. Um, we hope that when you watch this episode, because it is going to drop on our 1 year anniversary date, which is July 6th, so it will drop on that date. We hope that as you watch the episode and you really listen to what we had to say, we hope that you put in the comments, like what some things you got from our podcast, and what were some of your favorite episodes and things like that, because we would love to hear from you too. Because not only do we do this for ourselves, but we also want to do this for you.
Yeah.
And we want to be, even if you feel like you don't necessarily have a voice, we want to be like the voice, basically helping you to find your voice at the end of the day. So thank you so much for all the support that you have given us. And like I mentioned in the beginning of our episode, um, definitely make sure to like and follow our podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Our handle is Insight Convo WSL. And then please subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as hit the notification bell, so that way you can always be notified whenever we drop a new episode. And also, we are found on all major audio podcast platforms. So if you want to just listen to us instead of watching, you can do that as well. But again, thank you so much for supporting us the way you do. And again, 1 year anniversary to us. Yay.
Yay.
so excited about that. So, with that being said, I am closing out. I'm your girl Shnequia, aka S.
And I'm your girl, Lakeisha, aka L.
And until next time, we hope y'all take care, be safe, love each other, enjoy your summer, whatever you're going to be doing. And we'll see you next time. Take care.
Y'all take care. Bye.
Bye.